Welcome back to Twinset Unzipped, episode 15. In this week's episode, we discuss my moving house tips that I learnt this week and some new wardrobe staples.
We discuss this week's parenting fails, and there's been quite a few, and Phils and I assemble what our perfect day would look like, and we share all the details.
Enjoy the show. So we need to fill you in on the chaos that was this week. Very chaotic week.
And breathe.
And breathe.
And breathe.
As last week's saying goes, let it go.
Let it go.
So I moved house last week, and this week it's been an up and down, just breathe, kind of talking to myself, reminding myself how amazing it's going to be. There's been lots of testing moments.
I think we need to say that moving house is one of the most stressful things. Getting married, getting divorced,
having
house,
kids,
moving house.
Yeah. So it's up there.
So 1 out of 4.
Let's hope we don't get the 4th. Almost did this week. But so we usually record the podcast on a Wednesday morning after we drop the kids to school. And that was always going to be the plan for this week. Tuesday evening, it's about 10 o'clock at night. I'm sitting at the kitchen table writing the notes for the show for the next day. And all of a sudden, I hear... And at first, I look to my right, and there's boxes.
You need to just paint the picture of you've moved into an older
very,
house.
Sorry, just to give you the vision of
vision.
It's very, very, very beautiful old house. Has not been touched in at least 60 to 70 years. It's full of character and full of charm, and that's why I fell in love with it. And perhaps a little bit naive, as Sarah said, rose-tinted glasses.
But that's what I love, because I'm just going to interject, is that you always see the beautiful kind of...
Oh, maybe I'm a bit naive.
No, but you're like, well, I'm just going to do it. And you always look at such a positive picture, whereas I think sometimes it's very easy for people to be like, it's going to be so hard, it's going to be so difficult, how am I going to do it? Where you're always like, end goal, I can do this. I think that's really good.
But also it did come about very, very out of the blue and really quick. So within a month and a half, we saw this house, sold our house, and have moved into the new house. So there wasn't that much time for planning and prep. Also with the, everything else, the juggle of work, kids and everything. So it kind of... It didn't hit me until I'd moved in, and I didn't really have a plan in place other than I had just said to myself, I'm just going to give the walls a lick of paint, and I'm going to change the floor, and then we'll do the kitchen and bathroom, but we're just going to do phase 1, just kind of titify the space, because it's such a gorgeous high ceilings and so much character in it already. What I didn't realize is when you give a lick of paint to walls that haven't been touched in such a long time, you don't just paint the walls. The builders, they take off the radiators. The minute you do that, you open up so many issues that I did not foresee happening.
But you have dealt with.
But we have breathed through it all. On Tuesday, I had no hot water. Well, no. So that was actually, I'm now, how the memory actually does wipe away. I'm quite good at that.
You're like, I've had a great week.
Yeah. So I'm now taking you back to Tuesday before we get to Tuesday evening.
Oh, right.
Tuesday, remember, I come into work and I've got no hot water.
It's very, very stinky for anyone that wanted to know.
I gave myself a lovely wipe down. The plan was, I had to work. The kids were at school. My mum always collects the kids on a Tuesday anyway, so I asked her to take them back to her house after school to give them a bath. As long as my kids are settled, clean and happy, I'm a happy mama. So we had no hot water, obviously had no heating as well. And up until that point, I was really positive. And I think when you don't have the bare minimum, i.e. running hot water, that just sends you into a different territory of, oh my God, what the fuck have I done here? But I was kind of just getting through the day, put the kids to bed, sit down now we're in Tuesday evening, sit down at the table about 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden I hear the drip, drip, drip. Look to my right, and I've got, as I have around the whole house, a box there. So at first I thought, oh my God, there's a rat in the box, and it's like trying to get out.
Would you have rathered a rat?
Do you know what? I don't know.
So we can laugh now a little bit.
I'm so terrified of rats.
I think everyone is.
that's one thing I just cannot cope with.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I thought I'm going to shake the box to try and scare the rat so that it just stops moving. So I I started shaking it. And then as I moved to shake it, I all of a sudden felt the drip on my forehead. I look up and there's a huge crack in the kitchen ceiling with water, not gushing out, but it's a forceful drip. But drip leads into
to gush.
Yes. So I'm like, oh, like, you know, when you realize there's only so much one person can handle. At this point, Alex also had a work event that he couldn't miss. He had to go to. So I'm at home on my own. And all I'm thinking is the whole house is going to come tumbling down. Message
God
Sarah.
forbid.
And I'm just like, I can't, you know, when you actually reach that point where you have to say, I can't, like something has to give here. And you were like, come on, we're just going to push the show back. We'll do it on Friday. So here is Friday. You're listening to this on Monday. And
but we wanted to fill you in.
We wanted to fill you in on the ups and the downs of the week because it's so normal. And hopefully it's only going to go up.
Absolutely. The only way is up. Let's add, your dripping is no longer.
Well, I do have a huge hole in the ceiling.
She has cleaned. It did take a few days. But you are clean. I can confirm that you smell decent.
I'm looking the freshest I've looked in all
You look
week,
fresh and fresher than I looked last week after my microneedling, and the amount of people that thought there was something like severely wrong with me. Just my skin healing, so thanks for not being that repulsed. But it's a new week.
It's a new week. How's your week?
My week's been fine. I was worried about you.
Do you know what? I also have to say, Sarah is the kindest.
Oh,
you are.
Stop.
And also
relentless checking in. Hi, you okay? Hi, you okay?
What
Hi.
I have to say is when you have a friendship, and you actually mentioned this the other day about marriage, and I actually think I can relate to it more about our relationship. When someone's 80, you'll bring in the 20.
Oh, BF.
No, and what I mean by that is, you know,
You're
like
teary.
Yeah,
I'm
because
teary.
It's just that I'm going to give you a cuddle. Like, you know, like neither of us said it, but you just, when you love someone and you care for someone, sorry.
Can I cuddle you now? Touch me.
You know, or like just going to get lunch without even asking me. Like those little things that just don't go unnoticed. Yeah. But when you have a real friendship and connection with someone, just like that the checking in, the hugs, making the lunch, you know, all of those things, they don't go unnoticed when someone, you know, obviously there's so many more issues in the world, but everyone has their own way of dealing with things.
I think when you know someone how we know each other, and you can see it's been a really hard week, and I think what it's not difficult to check in, and you know, that's always been our relationship. So me harassing you with messages, you know, that I'm always going to do that, and making lunch, you know.
What was that quote that you read about the 80-20?
I'll actually put it on Instagram because I can't remember exactly, but a friend of mine sent this quote about a marriage. It basically says life is hard and you're not always going to be functioning at 100%. So it's having that dialogue with your partner to be like, how are you checking in? How are you feeling? You know what? I'm on a 20. I need you to bring the 80, you know, or, you know, I'm having a really good day today. Like I actually woke up in a really good, like quite a lovely mood today, you know. So if Craig had a bad day, I'd come home and like, you know what, I'm a solid 70 today. Like you go to bed early or you do what you need to do. But it's kind of having that dialogue and really understanding, because I think we're so guilty is if you don't talk, you really don't know how the other one's feeling.
And also then it internalizes and
well,
gets
and then
so
you're
much
just
worse.
If you're both really low, you're both really struggling, how do you move forward? So I'm always here to bring the 80 babes.
You always are.
Thanks for being so sweet to me on the pod. Enough tears for now. I will actually say though, quickly on the topic of house, because I do think we've had a lot of messages about it.
Yes.
I want some quick fire tips. I want 3 tips that you've learned from moving house that might help other people that's going through this.
I've definitely made a ton of mistakes, and I did note them as I was going along. Just
for your
kind
own,
of mentally, and also because our DMs, my personal DMs have gone crazy. And also just, you know, just on that front, obviously on Instagram, it looks like so exciting and the updates that I've shown are amazing. You know, I've got panelled walls in the kids' bedrooms and it is all lovely, but you don't ever on Instagram, it's a glossy facade, right?
Of course.
So this is why we wanted to have this platform to be able to share the real that goes on behind the beautiful panelled walls. But anyway, 3 things that I learned this week that I made mistakes on whilst moving. One being, be really specific with labeling your boxes. So for example,
I feel like that's really out of character for you not to do that.
I agree actually, and because the whole thing was very rushed. So when I put everything in boxes, I would just write Alfie's bedroom. No, don't do that. Be really specific with the content, because
otherwise you've got 28 boxes in a room and you don't know where his pants are.
Exactly. Unless you're moving into a house that is brand new, got all the beautiful storage and cupboards and wardrobes ready to move in. The last week we have been living out of boxes because there's nowhere to put anything. So quite rightly, well, for example, last night Alfie had his first football training for his new team. I had no idea where any of his football gear was. All I had was like 5 Alfie bedroom boxes. So be really specific with what goes into your boxes. I have to add, Alex did this. He even wrote like gym socks, and I remember looking at it being like, why the hell has he done that? Why did he waste his
Clever
time?
man.
He was clever. One step ahead of me.
There you go.
Slippers for the kids. I didn't order these in time, so for like 3 days they were both just walking around with socks because I didn't have any slippers.
Because you're doing the work and it's dusty.
And also there's dust, the carpets are old, and now we've got old floorboards, and there's nails. So definitely get slippers for the kids and for yourself. I actually did have an old pair of Uggs. Pack a wheelie with 3 days worth of outfits. I didn't do this. So obviously the next morning I woke up and I'm like, well, I don't even know what to wear. It was actually freezing last week.
Yeah.
I had no idea where my clothes were. So have a small little case where you've got your 3 outfits for you and the kids, with underwear, with pajamas, so that it's just easy, grab and go.
Yeah, I like it.
Last one, in your handbag, when you move into the new house, have a toilet roll, bottles of water, snacks for you and the kids, iPads charged, and like double or colouring games. Because when we moved in, I didn't have any of that. It's all chaos. You've got people moving in. You're just looking around these walls thinking, oh my gosh, this is our new house. You don't have any normality on you. So just have like those bare
They're good tips.
Essentials.
I probably wouldn't think of any of those.
Exactly. So I'm here to share the knowledge
Top tips
of the
from
mistakes
Philippa.
that I made.
Okay. House. We're making progress.
We are.
I feel like
this time next week it's going to be a whole
this
different
time next
story.
week they'll have their rooms. Yeah. All your clothes will be out and you'll be living your best life.
Exactly.
Talking of clothes, we were discussing last week our style rut that we were in. Again, it was a bit negative, weren't we? We were a bit like, we don't know what to wear.
Weather.
The weather. I mean, the weather's still been a bit crazy this week.
Well,
like it was
weird.
cold in the morning, hot in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel since that chat, we have refound the joy of daily dressing. And I got to tell you, it feels really good. And I would like to thank a few things for that. First of all, I feel getting out in the open and owning our style rut was actually really
healing,
freeing.
Yeah.
So we knew that we were like, we got to make more of an effort. We also invested in a couple of extras that kind of we needed to uplift maybe some of the pieces we like to wear, but we didn't necessarily know how to wear them, which brought our confidence back. And then because it was a focus, we put it into action.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it'd be fun for us to share the couple of things we've bought that have made us feel fabulous in our wardrobes again.
Who's starting?
I don't mind.
Shall I go?
Go
Why
for
don't
it.
we do one?
Go for it.
Right. So
don't
first...
steal mine.
Oh,
Seeing as I'm the one that buys the clothes.
Sarah is queen of ordering. She does dress us.
And also, if I ever buy anything and I don't buy 2 of like with my own money,
I'm
get very upset. The other night,
why don't I
couldn't
have it?
sleep. And I saw that Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, Rose Inc. had done a collaboration with Hunza G, but it was the night of the leak. Normally I would message you at like midnight and being like, shall I buy this swing costume or whatever? But I felt like it was just not appropriate.
Right.
So I ordered a couple to try, and I came into the office and I told Phils I'd ordered these swimwear. She was like, I need to order it. What colour shall I buy? What colour did you
She
buy?
gave me
So
such
literally
anxiety that
901.
I hadn't ordered them. She was like, well, I was so worried that they were going to sell out. I had to order them straight away. And then, of course, then I had that fear that they were going to sell out. So
Anyway,
should we
they
tell
yet to
everyone
arrive.
what colour we went for?
Well, I'm a psychopath, so I bought 3 colours because I didn't want them to sell out, and I'm probably not going to keep 3, but I wanted to try them all on.
So you went for
I
all
bought with the
3
dark
colours.
brown, the peachy, and the cream, but I feel like the cream is like wishful thinking because I'm going to look like a corpse in a cream swimming costume,
I went for the mauvey brownie colour.
which looks so beautiful. We'll report back on next week's episode. Anyway.
Right, so first up, the one item that I've loved in my wardrobe and I'm actually showcasing today is a cropped jacket.
Cropped.
Which is something I would never normally wear. Historically have been so conscious of...
She's very anti-cropped things.
Yes.
And if I ever put one on her desk, she'd be like,
Yes.
nope, I don't do cropped.
Well, because in my mindset, proportion-wise, if you're bigger busted, that just doesn't work. But I have
Disagree.
to say, I think it's something to do. I think if you either have strong shoulders with the style or wide arms, as mine does,
But I also think it's about
balances it out.
and balancing the proportions. So I think sometimes if you're wearing a very tight straight bottom, that can also make you look top heavy,
Yeah.
even though you're not, by the way. Whereas we're wearing it with high-waisted trousers,
Yeah.
wide legs, and I think that whole silhouette works really, really well together.
I was just missing that because I feel like trousers, jeans, even are like linen trousers that we always wear. Everything is high-waisted now.
It's quite a shift since last summer.
I was really struggling with what do I wear on top.
top.
So this kind of cropped
style
and layer really helps to kind of finish off that look.
And it's an outfit because I
Yeah.
think we were really feeling rutty because we were just wearing a t-shirt and trousers, a long sleeve top and trousers, and it feel like it's the same thing, but by
Yeah.
adding another layer like a jacket, and then you can kind of add another colour in, works really well.
Yeah, what's yours?
Talking of cropped things, I would like to say that cropped t-shirts have been a go-to for me recently in the past couple of weeks, and I'm really enjoying that kind of, again, that boxy silhouette with a trouser or a jean. Obviously, the trousers and jeans need to be high because we're not going to be showing any midriff. But I kind of really think it adds a bit of an edge to those basic pieces. And the Zara ones are, I had mine from
So
last year
good.
when you didn't want them. So I've
So
reordered them and they're really, really good. They're a nice thick material, which I think is really flattering. Their sleeves are quite long. And we've got white, grey, black and navy. And I feel like you just feel cool in them.
Yeah.
They're a really good outfit builder.
Yeah.
So that's mine. Yours?
So my second discovery for my spring-summer wardrobe has been a slouchy jean.
Yes.
So like a slouchy wide leg jean. So historically I've always loved a skinny jean.
That's very
You're
you.
looking at me like...
No, listen, what were the ones that you wore for like ever?
The J brands.
The J brands.
Love a skinny jean. Then
Do you still have any skinny jeans?
I've got a few that I just can't get rid of, like the H&M shaping ones, the black
So
ones.
good.
They're just so good. And sometimes if you're wearing in the winter
Yeah,
like a chunky knit and
and
a
your
boot,
knee-high boot, yeah.
you need a skinny jean.
Yeah.
So then from skinny jeans, I went on to straight leg mum jeans, which I obviously still love.
Yeah.
But this spring summer, I've tried out the slouchy wide leg. And I was a little bit, don't want to go down that Avril Lavigne route. Scared of that.
Keep the
whole
Converse
vibe.
away.
But if you kind of pair it back with something very simple, like a really simple white tee or black tee, and even add a heel or a strappy sandal, I've just loved the kind of whole relaxed vibe of it. And I feel like denim now, you can have so much fun with it. And we've said this for a while. People's mindset with dressing has changed so much. Do you remember back in the day when you would only wear jeans on the weekend? I mean, obviously, I know that
Now we never want to wear jeans on the weekend.
yeah. But obviously, there are some working environments that jeans aren't appropriate. But mostly, I think probably more since COVID now,
Yeah.
everyone's mindset with getting dressed is just so different. That denim is just so varied and fun. And you can get smart denims. The pair that I love are the Citizens of Humanity. They're called the Ayla jean.
They're really
And
good.
they've kind of got like a twisted seam on them. So they make them really
And you can roll them
flattering.
up, roll them down.
Yeah, they're a good one.
And I think as well, jean shapes, they change a lot.
Yeah.
And once you don't feel good in like an older shape, let's say, it can make you feel a bit dated. So if you kind of find that one pair that kind of elevates your basics, I think it's like a great wardrobe tip because you don't need loads.
No.
So we've worn them to death.
I can't believe we didn't start this whole conversation with, don't you find that when you wear an outfit that you don't like, you're in the worst mood?
Yes, we should have said that.
We
Absolutely.
should have started this whole conversation with how getting dressed in the morning has such a huge impact on your mindset. Like, if I don't
Especially
like
for
my
us,
outfit,
because we're looking in mirrors all day.
I can't wait to come home and strip it off. Whereas if you feel put together, it just does just instantly change your whole mood.
And it's funny, when I got dressed this morning, I quite liked my outfit, and I thought, oh, I'm going to wear that next week to this. Like, remember, you know what we said about making...
Did you take a picture?
Not yet. Have you started making the albums for us?
I've had quite a lot going on.
Okay, we both need to get better on that.
So your last one,
my last one was actually not something new, but because it was cold, I wasn't wearing my sandals. So I have like a switch over where I have but sandals like in an IKEA bag, which I switch over from my boots. So I did that a couple of weeks ago. And adding like a bit of skin at the bottom of trousers, getting our chunky dad sandals back out, really made me fall in love with my outfits again, because I think I was so bored of wearing trainers every day. A white trainer, a white trainer, a white trainer. It felt the same. Whereas now I've got my kind of shades of taupe and white and black, and I feel like kind of lifts those outfits. And I've really enjoyed wearing sandals every day. And I had a pedi.
Oh my gosh, a good pedicure transforms
And
you.
your tip, by the way,
What's the tip?
Moving your other foot when I scrape your foot. They all laugh at me, and then they're like, you're moving your foot.
Well, because I can imagine what the scene is.
I'm like,
I mean, I probably do it quite subtly. So just for those of you that didn't listen to this episode, I shared with Sarah my biggest hack with, you know, when you go
in life,
when you go for a pedicure and they're scraping your dry skin. Sarah can't handle it.
Literally, my insides are hanging out. I can't.
So I told her she needs to move her other foot. But I kind of do this probably quite subtly and, you know, don't make a thing of it. Whereas I can imagine you just like...
Literally. And I'm like breathing deeply at the same time. It works.
Do you find it that bad?
I find it like
the worst
skin
thing in life.
hanging, like literally, because I'm so ticklish.
No, but a good pedicure...
Are you ticklish?
I love to be stroked.
No, but are you ticklish?
No, because I like to be touched.
No, but then if you were to be... Like if I tickled you...
certain areas. Probably like under my neck.
I'm so ticklish. So yeah, wanted to share with you the pieces that have brought our wardrobes back to life and hopefully inspire you guys to re-love your wardrobe again. One more thing about wardrobes before we move on. I've got a new guilty pleasure. But actually I think it's a life hack and it's very informative, and I think you're going to enjoy this.
Tell me. Tell us.
Google reverse image search. Ask me what that is.
Tell me. Tell us all.
Okay, so you know how you scroll things on Instagram or you read an article and maybe something's not tagged? You can screenshot that picture. I mean, I know I'm probably like geriatric and everyone does this, but I only found out about it last week. You can put that picture into the Google app and search the picture, and it will tell you where that thing is from.
Is it always spot on?
If you put in a denim jacket that's very generic, no. But if I put in like... I don't know, like an evening gown that I saw on someone beaut on Instagram, it will be like Alex Perry, £5,000, which I'm obviously not going to buy, but at least you can work out where things are from. And like homeware, you can do it with locations. And I just think it's so good, because you know, sometimes if you inbox people and they don't get back and you want to know where something's from on Instagram, it's a great hack.
I love your discovery of the week. Mine isn't very interesting. What it has been for me, it's been quite game changing. I discovered that overnight oats with nut butter and a raspberry Kool-Aid.
Nice.
From Gales. Who knew? Have you ever tried it?
No.
It is delicious. It's got almond shavings on it. It's very filling.
It didn't look too gargantuous when you ate it before, because you know sometimes you get a vat of porridge and you're like, oh my God, it's bigger than me.
I loved it. I think that might have to be my breakfast for every day. So I read something this week from the lovely Valeria and her new podcast, Not Alone, which we do love. We're huge fans of. And she wrote, "It's much better to have failures than it is to have regrets. Regrets make you doubt yourself. Failures help you know yourself." How good is that?
It's good.
You know, guys, we love reading these phrases and these quotes that just make so much sense to us. So we wanted to kind of share that on today's episode and perhaps kind of go into, have we got anything that we feel like we failed on? Any regrets that we have? Obviously, try and keep it quite
PG.
Yeah. Have you?
So regrets, I don't love to think that I have regrets. So I would say that overall, no, I wouldn't say I've got any major regrets. Failure, I don't love that word either. I think it's not always about, if something doesn't go your way, about failing. But I feel like something that was quite momentous in my life was obviously my whole IVF struggle. And that was like a running theme that I felt during my kind of 4.5 years of trying to get pregnant and staying pregnant, is that I often felt like a total failure. Like my body was failing me, I was failing me. And I do think that a lot of the terminology used in IVF is about failing. You had a failed transfer, a failed egg collection. So it makes that fixated in your brain, fail, 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 fail.
Yeah.
You know, the bigger picture of a failure, let's use inverted commas, is what you can learn from it. It's not permanent. You know, it did make me who I am. I learned so many lessons. And, you know, maybe this isn't the best thing to say, but this is my truth, is that growing up and, you know, at school and stuff, I don't think I really experienced those feelings of failure. You know, I'm not saying I was the most clever girl in the whole school or anything like that, but I applied myself and I worked hard and I always did okay. I don't remember experiencing the feelings that I felt during my IVF struggles. So it was the first time that I felt like a failure and there was nothing that I could do. I think sometimes when you fail, you think, what can I do to be better? How can I change it? What can I do? But with trying to get pregnant and all the rounds of IVF, there's nothing you can do.
It's out of your control.
It's out of your control. It's a numbers game. It's, you know, all the transfers, there's literally nothing you can do. And that's really, really, really hard to kind of get your mind around and to kind of turn it on its head to make it positive. The overriding feeling is of failure. And it did make me who I am today. And I did need to learn those lessons in life. And I did get my happy, healthy children afterwards. It doesn't always end that way. You just have to try and think about the lessons that you can learn from that moment of failure, I think.
I think, let's face it, failing, it's such a difficult space to navigate. No one wants to feel like they are failing. I don't, you know, especially when something, as you say, is out of your control. And I think when I was listening to Valeria's podcast, Not Alone, she was referring to failing in terms of her business because she had her own brand that she then stopped. That I actually don't know the ins and outs of why it had to be shut down.
She didn't enjoy it.
Is that right?
She basically said it wasn't for me. Hats off.
Yeah.
It's not for me.
So I guess in that term, she's, you know, she has no regrets. She tried, but it didn't fail because she gave it a go. And we've actually said on so many episodes of, starting our business, it takes guts to start something new, something for yourself. You know, you can have all the ideas in your head, but that fear of failure can sometimes override everything else. So I just found that whole topic kind of really interesting, to turn it on its head and not have the regret of, I wish I tried that, without having the fear of failure. I mean, mine is so small scale. Everyone's going to laugh. But I think because I've had such a heavy week, I was like just trying to think of fun failures that I've had recently. The only one I can think of is I did try and give up coffee for 2 months and then I failed. And within those 2 months, I was like, I'm never going to have coffee again. I don't need it. I feel so much fresher. I'm better. And then society told me I needed coffee back in my life.
But then maybe we need to kind of rephrase it all. Like, is that failure, or you learn that actually you really like coffee and you really enjoyed it? So is that a failure?
Yeah, well, I have no regrets.
There you go. She really enjoys her coffee in the morning.
Moving on to some recent parenting moments, should we call them? Some parenting fails that we've both endured the last week or so. So whilst we were moving house, the day we moved, you know, everyone has this vision of how it's going to go. I definitely thought that as a family, as a unit of 4, we were going to leave our first family home together. It's going to be a really monumentous, calm, lovely day. We're going to leave together and then we're going to move into the new house together. My grandma had spent the whole week telling me, Philippa, when you move into your new house, you have to step in with your right leg first.
I want to know what that means.
It's like good luck. It's just an old wives' tale, like good luck. I've always done it. Anyway.
Not Craig. I was about to say Craig carrying you in the front door. Alex carrying you in the front door.
So Alfie was amazing the whole morning. The whole morning was going great. And then just as we were leaving, he flipped And I could tell his mood. He was getting angry. He didn't want to do everything that I was asking him to do. He very rarely has tantrums. Ava, on the other hand, she loves a tantrum. Alfie has just been he's always been my chilled boy. But that morning, as we were leaving, it all turned. And as we were about to leave, one of the guys that was helping us to load the van said, let me take a family photo of you, your last picture in this house to remember. So I thought, of course, we've got to do this. So we all stand by the door, and Alfie did not want to get involved. And listen, he's 6, and ever since he started school, I've always made sure that I haven't pushed him. If he doesn't want to have a photo, I have tried to really limit him on Instagram. I've been really pro just not putting any pressure on him when it comes to taking a picture for Instagram. But I said to him, come on, Alfie, it's our last family photo. And he was just getting more and more irate.
Did the briberies come out?
I was just like, I don't know how I was behaving. All I know was that I wasn't dealing with it correctly. Because at the time, I just wanted the photo and to leave. And he was screaming, he was shouting, he didn't want to do it. He was saying, I won't be in it. And I couldn't see in that moment that the emotion of leaving the house was getting to him, and he didn't want to.
And it's the unknown for them. And he didn't know where he was going, what it looked like.
And, when you're 6 years old, you can't process your emotions. So his emotion of leaving the house was coming out in anger, and I couldn't see it at the time. And it was only when I left and then when I was driving to the new house did I actually take a moment to sit back to assess the situation of what just happened and think, why didn't I go over to him and say, I understand how you're feeling. Don't worry about having a photo. We'll do one when you're ready. But I didn't react like that in the moment. And it's so, hindsight is always such a lovely thing. But in that moment, I completely failed as a parent. I couldn't see where his anger was coming from. And I just didn't deal with it correctly. So that was an absolute fail on my behalf. And listen, I feel like as parents, as adults, you need to go through these moments to learn. I hope that next time that happens, I'll understand better.
He's also sick, so it could have just been a tantrum. I think sometimes it's hard anyway when it's a busy moment to always put yourself in other people's shoes. Like, you were feeling excited and happy, so you probably just thought, well, he's feeling excited and happy.
Yeah. We did manage to, in the end,
kind of
grab him. And he said, and the hardest thing is I can hear him saying, I can't smile. Aww. And I can only hear it in my head now.
But you didn't hear it at the time.
I didn't hear it at the time. But anyway, so that was a massive fail on my behalf last week.
Well, I had a similar thing, actually, talking about really understanding them. So Lenny is not the best eater, let's say. He's just not a foodie. So he won't eat when he's not hungry. He doesn't love lots of different things. So I find dinner time, I think I've spoken about this before, quite challenging in my house. I have a roster of 3 things, and even some days he says he doesn't want to eat those and he wants to have a Nutella wrap for dinner. But I was not standard, so I was not giving in to Nutella wrap because he'd had a Nutella wrap for breakfast because it was one of those mornings. So I literally made him pasta. I moved to tagliatelle to try something new with butter and cheese, which he normally really likes. Anyway, Edie stuffing it in her mouth, beautiful. Lenny, he actually did do a good job, and this is what I'm annoyed about. He was hungry because often when they come out of nursery, he's had ratatouille for lunch and he's starving. So he was really, really hungry, and he was really working at this plate. But I did put a big plate on because he told me he was hungry, and I would say he had half the plate. And he is nearly 5, as in he probably knows when he's hungry versus not hungry. But I wanted him to eat the whole plate, so he said, "I'm finished." I said, "No." I said, "You eat more than that." I said, "Give me 3 more mouthfuls." He was like, no. We had an argument about it. I basically forced him to have 3 more mouthfuls. He got to 2 and he was like, I really don't want any more. And he basically threw his pasta on the floor. So I then lost it because, that's not good.
And it's also that time of the day.
Yeah.
The patience around thin.
Why was I not really proud of him that he ate half his plate? Why did I fixate on the half that he didn't eat? Why was that my thing? And I was annoyed with myself because actually what I could have done was, you know what, Lenny, you've done a really good job. Bear in mind some nights he won't eat a thing. You've done a really, really good job. Well done for eating half your plate. If you want, why don't you try one more mouthful? And if he really said, no, I'm full. Yeah. So I kind of really beat myself up afterwards about it because I made that situation really bad. Like, I almost forced him to lash out because he was angry and he didn't want to eat anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure so many
of course
mums are listening to this thinking we'd do this.
But then I lost the plot and I screamed and I was really angry with myself for doing that. But in that moment, I was so angry that he threw his food because I mean, I can't even remember the last time he did that. So I learnt that I really do need to flip that switch in my head, focus on what he did eat, what he did, positive praise.
Yeah.
And
it's
not
just,
go to the negative.
You know what I find is like they say, I'm full, I don't want anything. And then you're like, okay, great, you had a lovely dinner. And then 2 minutes later,
chocolate
I'm
buttons,
hungry,
Pringles.
I'm hungry, I want dessert.
Yeah. Well, like every week there's just something
something
to talk about and it's quite funny to share. But ending on something I've read this week, all those high vibes.
The high vibes.
The high vibes. I was reading about designing your perfect day.
Oh, love this
What
chat.
would your perfect day look like if we could envision really well that beautiful, stunning day where our energy was high, we felt wonderful about life, and I really thought people would be quite interested what our perfect day was. So do you want to start? We haven't shared this.
How much detail have you gone into?
I wouldn't say extreme detail, more of like a generic.
All right, okay. So my perfect day includes waking up without an alarm clock. The sun is shining. I can feel it like coming through the blinds. I wake up naturally. And then I walk to a reformer Pilates class.
Nice.
Just for, a good stretch, positive mindset, beautiful way to start the day, gentle, slow motion. I come back and breakfast is made for me. It's on the table, ready, steady, go. I have it. I then go upstairs and I have a morning bath with loads of bubbles and candles and a coffee. There is something about having...
Have you ever had a coffee?
Have you ever
I don't think I've ever had a morning bath.
Okay, you need to do it.
Okay, note for the weekend.
One weekend treat. You need to have a morning bath with bubbles and a coffee. I then come downstairs and there's a masseuse waiting for me to give me a full body massage.
Yeah.
I then go up to bed for a few hours and have a sleep. I sleep for 2 to 3 hours. The sun is still shining and I go for a walk with the kids. They go get an ice cream and maybe I have like a smoothie or a crushed ice something.
Yeah.
And then I come home. I've kind of like missed out a section of the day, but then I'm all of a sudden in my pajamas and we've got a Good Earth takeaway.
Beautiful.
For anyone that doesn't know what Good Earth is, it's the most incredible Chinese restaurant ever. That's my perfect day.
Well, that sounds like we need to implement it immediately.
It's quite, I wouldn't say it's totally unrealistic, but it's like little nods of things that I just love in one day.
I like it.
What's yours?
Okay, so mine's similar start to the morning. So my key is you've got to start the day and end the day well for a perfect day. Mm-hmm. So I've really honed in on that. So I'm starting the day, I'm waking up naturally, 5:01, beautifully, no alarm clock as I do most days.
You wouldn't wake up later on your perfect day?
No, because there's something about getting up at that time that is sensuous to me.
That's mad.
But my kids are staying asleep till at least 8 o'clock, which has never happened in life. So I'm getting up naturally. I'm having a slow morning, doing an epic Peloton workout. I'm dripping.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is my perfect day.
Okay, I'm listening.
I didn't judge your day.
Okay, no.
Take it back.
I take it back.
I'm waking up at 5:01. My kids are fast asleep. I'm having an epic Peloton workout. I'm showering. I'm getting ready in peace. I don't have anyone talking to me. There's no element of rush because every day there's some form of rush. The kids might be up by now. I don't even know. Then we're going to walk into our local high street with the dog. The sun's shining. There's no coats. And I will be eating every single morsel of food out for the day because I don't want to even look in my kitchen. So we're starting off with a lovely breakfast brunch out. I'm having sourdough. I'm having poached eggs, avocado, smoked salmon. The kids are sitting there silently and beautifully. They're eating wonderfully, colouring with their crayons. I'm enjoying my coffee with Craig. The conversation's flowing. You get the gist? Okay. Then we'll come
this every weekend for you.
Minus the silence. Then the kids are going to be entertained. I'm having some self-care. Mm-hmm. I'm not actually too fussed what the self-care is. I'd written down massage, pedi, healing, maybe all of the above.
All at once.
And that's probably going to take the majority of my afternoon. Actually, I might even be out my house doing it. I'm going to be in a spa. I'm taking it to the spa. I'm going to be at a spa for the afternoon, reconnecting with myself, feeling wonderful. then I'm going to go for a roast.
I'm keeping my mouth shut.
Why?
Because I just can't believe a roast is on your perfect day.
I love sun shining roast. Again, the kids are behaving. An early dinner, that is key to the perfect day.
Never knew this about you.
No, you know I got into that nut roast at the rising sun.
Yeah.
No, it's really good. And that's what came to me when I thought about my perfect day.
I love you.
So having a nut roast at the rising sun. It's a beautiful day. We get home about 7. Craig deals with the kids for bath and bedtime. Sit on the sofa. We're going to Netflix and chill.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And then I'm going to be in bed by 10.
I feel like we need to make sure that our perfect days happen because I don't think that they're too out of this world.
Do you want to do a Peloton with me at 5:01?
No, that would probably be on my like list of like the last things that I want to do in a day. But that's how we differ.
I know, it's good. That doesn't. Oh, I can't stop thinking about it.
I can't stop smiling.
I know.
I hope we've taken you on that journey with us. Maybe
and I'd like to know whose day do you want to be part of and why.
And that wraps up
episode 15. I had to think about that one for a second.
15 whole episodes. We hope you've enjoyed them.
It was funny because I was looking back through some past reels, so I was trying to find something. It was like proper winter when we started, like freezing cold, and we've gone through seasons.
Well, not really. I feel like it's only just turned into summer.
The sun is beaming through the windows.
We're very grateful.
We're very grateful.
Episode 15.
And as always, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star review, and we will see you next week.